Hi, this is Joanie Courtney, and welcome to the latest episode of Jobs with Joanie. I'm very happy to give you an update today on the latest job market highlights and numbers, which were just released by the Bureau of Labor Statistics last Friday. We actually had a very strong jobs report for the month of August. 1.4 million jobs were actually added to the U.S. economy, which shows that we are continuing to see job growth and an economic rebound across the country. So that was some really exciting news, and certainly a little bit better than some of the economists had actually predicted. Some of the biggest highlights in the report were actually the unemployment numbers. Unemployment had been at 10.2% and ticked down to 8.4% for the month of August. There was a lot of good news in those numbers. We saw that people were entering back into the workforce. The size of the labor market actually grew. We increased the amount of people that were actually working. And labor participation is also starting to move in the right direction. So that number was really the biggest highlight in the report, certainly quite a bit of an improvement from just a few months ago when we had gotten up to close to 16%. We also saw that average hourly earnings increased. They were up by 18 cents from the previous month, and they are also up about 4.7% on a year-over-year basis. I can tell you from our EmployBridge customers that we continue to see hourly wages moving in the right direction, which shows us it's still a very competitive job market. Employers are having to offer employees a little bit more on that hourly wage to get the worker, to keep the worker, keep them engaged. And we continue to see that really moving in that direction. In fact, the numbers at EmployBridge are up closer to 7% of an increase on a year-over-year basis. So overall, we still have 13.6 million job seekers that are out there looking for work. Today, we saw that the initial jobless claims were released and 884,000 new initial claims did come in for week ending August 29th. We're still kind of holding steady at over 13 million people that are looking for work. But again, this is down substantially from where we were in April, when weekly jobless claims were close to 6 million on a weekly basis. And in May, we had as much as 25 million people on unemployment. So these numbers are truly moving in the right direction, but we still have a way to go to get to a full recovery. So now we're going to take a look at the actual job gains and which sectors are doing the hiring. It's great to see in the goods producing sector that construction added 16,000 jobs and manufacturing also added 29,000 jobs. We expect to see those numbers to continue to move up in the September and October reports. The market is very strong. It's still competitive, and we're seeing pay rates, as I mentioned before, are moving in the right direction in these categories. On the service-producing sector side, really strong growth in leisure and hospitality, which was, as we all know, one of the hardest hit sectors and continues to be a challenge. We also saw professional and business services come back with 197,000 jobs, and retail trade was the strongest sector for the month of August, with almost 250,000 jobs created in that retail sector. Retail is going to be interesting to watch because we know that we're getting into the peak holiday season and retailers have already started their holiday hiring. So they are bringing employees back to work, they're ramping up for the holidays, and they are expecting a strong holiday season. So we will be watching that sector as well. Now, the government also added jobs for the month of August, and part of that was some seasonal hiring due to the census work. So that also was a couple of hundreds of thousands of jobs in that 1.4 million number. I want to take a minute just to look at the unemployment rates across the country, because I think it's important to put this in perspective. And we realize that every sector is different, especially when it comes to the leisure and hospitality sector, which really was hit the hardest and continues to be. So for that sector, they are making some improvement. Last month, unemployment was closer to 25%. It's come down slightly to 21.3%, but still a long way to go. And we see that in, the airlines that unfortunately have had some pretty large layoffs. Really anything in leisure and hospitality is still being impacted significantly due to the pandemic. But lots of improvement in other sectors, construction, manufacturing. Transportation is still pretty high at 11.3%, but again, it is improving on a month-over-month basis. Some of the best sectors, again, financial activities is down to 4.2%, very, very tight job market there. And the professional and business service sectors is improving, down to 7.2%. And I would expect to see that those numbers are going to continue to improve next month. So I'll just give you a few comments before we wrap it up today and share some additional insights with you. This job market is certainly one of the most interesting that we've seen in the past few months. We've had such extremes with our economy shutting down and seeing as many as 25 million people unemployed, and then all the job growth that has come back over the last 4 months. I can tell you from the front lines at EmployBridge, we definitely see the economic rebound. There is a high demand for workers, and there are still some challenges out in the marketplace where employers and staffing companies are still having a challenge getting people back to work. And there's a few reasons for that. It really isn't just one situation. It really depends, of course, on the individual. But we've had the challenge with some of the supplemental benefits where people have been making more money on unemployment. That did change in the month of August, and we did see more people coming back to work because that $600 benefit did go away. But there are also some other challenges. Families today are dealing with the child care issues, homeschooling, and unfortunately for some families, they've had to make a very difficult decision that one parent might have to stay home, or they've had to find other solutions in order to balance the children's schooling, having a lack of daycare or childcare, and balancing that, of course, with going back to work. So very, very challenging time for many families across America. We continue to see that having an impact on the employment market. We also see that there continue to be concerns, of course, for health and safety, though employers and certainly our customers at EmployBridge are committed to health and safety and doing everything they can to create a safe environment for workers. Of course, people still have concerns, and that may be holding some people back from fully entering the job market and getting back to work. So it is still a challenging time. We do see, though, that the job market is strong. I wanted to point out that the JOLTS report, which was just released, actually showed an increase of over 600,000 jobs on the last day of July. And so that report just came out, another good sign that job postings are increasing, openings are up. Some of the strongest gains right now are in the retail sector, healthcare, construction, and as far as the regions go, a lot of that job growth is in the southern and the Midwest states across the country. So overall, this was a very good jobs report. We are moving in the right direction. We still have a lot of work to do as a country to get people back to work. And most of all, really fight this battle with COVID, and hopefully a vaccine will be in our near future, which really could accelerate more growth. But overall, we're moving in the right direction, and continues to be a very interesting time and a competitive job market. So thanks for joining me today to hear some highlights on the August report, and please join me next month when we take a look at the September numbers. Make it a great day. Bye-bye.